Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and to another Plan With Me video. This week we are memory planning the week that was the 30th of September through to the 6th of October, and I am using some kind of mystery kit from Scribble Prints Co. Very funny because when I got this kit as a mystery, it was one of those kits that I was like, I'm spending so much money, what am I going to do with this kit? And then surprise, surprise, I actually came up with the perfect opportunity to use it because this particular week was actually an awards week at my work, and every year we have these awards and every year there's a new theme for the awards. And this particular year the theme was 50s diner. So I don't necessarily know that this is 50s diner, but it's diner, and I figured I would probably never get a more perfect opportunity to use the kit, so I opted to use it. I am very happy that I did because I really enjoy the colors of this kit, and I think it looks really nice laid down, and it is paired with a silver hollow foil. I just realized I don't know if I realized I did that at the time, but I'm looking at the overlays that I did on Thursday and Friday, the 3rd and the 4th. And because this is an older style format of the foil overlays, I've used the same like cornered overlays on side-by-side boxes. It is what it is. Anywho, like I said, that is the kit that I'm using for this week. SPC kit, SPC foil. Let's go ahead and jump on into everything because you guys know I like to get distracted and I tend to go a little bit off course. Also, if you hear some strange noises, it is because my dog is next to me and he's rolling around having a grand old time. Life has been really tough lately. I'm doing this voiceover in July of 2025. And yeah, life has been rough. You will probably have noticed also, a quick little disclaimer before we get into the plans, that you guys have not seen a plan with me since July. And if you are new here or you haven't seen my previous videos, some really hard things happened in like the July through September period, so I just opted to skip those altogether, and I've been doing those in my personal time. I will eventually catch up and I will give you guys a planner flip through video, but it's just taking a little bit of time because, again, like I feel like since July of last year, life hasn't stopped. So for 12 months, I feel like we've just had bad things happen. So I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. I'm taking my time. I'm doing what I can. Moving into 2025 at this stage, I've only filmed all of January spreads, and I think I've done my February kit lineup, and that's kind of it. So that's where we're at, but we will see what happens. We will see whether I continue to plan all of them on camera or whether I just have some days where I want to plan off camera. I don't know. But with that said, let's get back into the plans. So sidebar is pretty stock standard. We've got the 3 full boxes and a section for the highlight of the week, which you'll see me laying down now. And then we jump into the day by day. So first thing that I've marked on Monday was, of course, work. And then I marked that it was such a long work day. I marked having some coffee. That night I made satay chicken for dinner with my mum's personal recipe. You guys, if you've been following me for a while, you guys know that I don't really like to cook. It's just a lot of preparation. It's a lot of time. It's something I feel like you have to love to do it a lot, and I don't love it. So I don't tend to cook a lot. So when I do make something, I tend to mark it in my planner. So this is one of those days I made satay chicken. Back in this period of our lives, we were watching Game of Thrones, so I have marked that, and then I've left a little section for reading at the bottom of the page there. No idea what I was reading because I didn't mark it, but we were reading. Tuesday. So Tuesday we've marked work at the top of the day there, and then I've marked that I was finishing other people's work. That was probably because we have like a quota. So in my team, I do like quality assurance work, and we get kind of like a portfolio, so to speak, of work at the beginning of every month that we have to finish by the end of the month. Obviously you can plan and strategize and do what you want as you want to, but you have to make sure that your workload is done. If it's not done, you then have to rely on people to help you at the end of the month. So end of month had passed at this point. It was the beginning of a new month, which is generally when you want to kickstart your new month's portfolio. But this particular day, we were helping people who hadn't quite finished their previous month's workload, which obviously puts you behind a little bit and can be a little bit frustrating, particularly if it's the same people over and over. Also, apologies for the cough. I have this weird cough going on at the moment and it just won't go away. And then marked that I watched some ASMR or listened to some ASMR, however you want to say it, after work. I did some laundry. I got a delivery from Exotica Athletica, who are an Australian sports fitness brand company who have recently gone into administration, which makes me really sad because TMI for some, but I tend to not wear a lot of proper bras anymore. I tend to live in their crop tops because they're really supportive and really comfy. But before they went into administration, or maybe as they were going into administration, they changed the way that their crop tops are made, and their crop tops don't fit me properly anymore. So I'm really sad about that because I don't know what I'm going to do when the crop tops that I'm wearing over and over and over again wear out. So fun times. And then I just marked that I finished out the day by having a lazy evening. On Wednesday, it was my nan's birthday. May she rest in peace. I worked from the office this day because this day was actually the awards day that I was talking about. So I marked that we had our awards day this day. Pretty much everyone goes in for the free food, if I'm going to be honest. So we get free finger food and, there's novelty things. So I think this particular time there was soft serve ice cream and maybe milkshakes for the diner theme. I marked that it was a 50s diner theme awards day. I marked that I was exhausted. And when I got home, pretty much after eating, I went straight to bed. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. What an exhilarating day. But yeah, this coffee is going to drive me mad. Probably not the best time for me to be doing voiceovers, but truth be told, I just want my 2024 planner finished. Anywho, Thursday. So Thursday we've got work at the top of the day there. I did then have to do a post office run. I don't know whether I did the post office run at lunchtime or whether I went after work, but we went to the post office. I marked having a YouTube binge, that I hung out on Twitch for a little while. I marked having some family time, which is just me, my husband, and our 2 dogs chilling on the couch. And then the last thing that I marked on Thursday that we watched Game of Thrones. Friday, we've got work at the top of the day there, and then I've marked that my specialist called me to give me some not so great news. I won't go into this voiceover. It may be something that I touch or recap on when we get to the flip through video. I marked that I was feeling down, that I had McDonald's for dinner, and that on Friday night our movie of choice was Iron Man 3, because again, this was back when we started our Marvel rewatch or Marvel watch. I'd kind of seen some of the universes. Is that even what you say? I don't even know, but I'd seen some of Iron Man. I've seen some of Spider-Man. I don't know, but this is when we were doing our full Avengers. Avengers? No, not Avengers. I don't know. We were doing the full rewatch thing. On Saturday, I marked that we had lunch at a local cafe with my mother-in-law. I had a really delicious Caesar salad. It is the best Caesar salad I have had from anywhere. It is a generous serve. It is really tasty and so good. After that, we did go to Bunnings, which for anyone who is not Australian or is not aware, it's basically a big furniture hardware DIY store, and sometimes it's just fun to walk around in there. I then marked that I got some Hungry Jack's hot chips on the way home. And then when we got home, we watched some Game of Thrones. I took a little nap, and then that night we watched Captain America Winter Soldier. So we were doing the Google version, I think in chronological order. So it wasn't Iron Man 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. It was chronological order based on a Google search. And then last but not least, all in good timing too, because I'm getting a little bit breathless. Sunday, I've marked that we had coffee. I've then put a little house icon, which I believe means that we went to our friend Annie and Graham's. But I've lost my custom script for them, so I've got to try and find it or order a new one. But there was that. I then marked that we did a little grocery run because it was grand final day. So this was the New South Wales Rugby League grand final. So we went and got groceries to then come home and make cupcakes because our friends Annie and Graham and their two daughters, their team was in the grand final, so they wanted to make like themed cupcakes. So that's why we went to get groceries. We then came home and made said cupcakes. And then marked that we watched the grand final. Couldn't tell you the score. I'll have to go back and look at it because I haven't even recorded it in here. But my goodness. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to edit them out without this video being whack. And I quite frankly, don't know if I have the energy to do it. So if you hear coughing when it comes to this voiceover, I'm so sorry. After the grand final, their team did win, by the way, for like the 3rd year in a row, or the 4th year in a row. So annoying. Kind of hoping they don't make it to this year's finals. And then usually when the kids go to bed at their house, we'll watch an adult movie. Not an adult movie, but like a movie that's suitable for adults and not kids. So that night we watched House of Spoils. And then when my husband and I got home, I think we had the next day off because it was a public holiday. So we actually watched Game of Thrones. That is it for this week. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon for another one. Bye!